Hello everyone, it's Jennifer and thank you so much for joining me today. I have at least 3 projects planned for this one video. We're going to be making a bracelet, maybe 2 bracelets and a necklace. Okay, so I've already started the necklace and I have the bracelet components all ready to go. We're going to be also using some of that amazing 7-strand beading cable from Potomac Beads. That was in your January box if you got the January Treasure Edition box. We're also going to be using for this necklace these 4mm smooth, seamless smooth round silver beads, and we're also going to be using some of the 8/0 Miyuki seed beads and some of these elongated bicones. All right, so this is what we're going to use for tools. We're going to have our round nose pliers, our bent chain nose pliers, our chain nose pliers, and some cutters. And what we're going to be doing also are some simple loops. And I'm not a simple loop person. However, though, outside of the box, right, we're going to be using some of these incredible eye pins that were included in the February box. These were included in the February box. Love it, love it. I used some and going to be using up more here for this project. All that I've done, again, is just some simple loops and added the silver bead with the seed bead and the elongated bicone. All right, so I've already done a bunch of the necklace already. If you want to turn this into a bracelet, you can make this as a bracelet if you wish. I wanted to have a nice short necklace. So what I'm going to do is also, these little guys came on the strand with the black beads, and I always just save them because you never know when you're going to need them, right? I also have some 5mm jump rings that I am linking each of those components together with. And you don't have to if you don't want to, but I thought it just kind of broke things up and added a little bit of texture to the necklace. We're also using one of those amazing clasps from the box as well for March. So we have a set, we have 5. And so I do want to save at least one. As if you watched my last Potomac video, I mentioned that I'm going to take all of my beads that are left over from all of the boxes, and after 6 months, I am going to put together some, I'm just going to blend all the boxes together and start doing some projects. So I have intentionally left some beads behind. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pretend like I haven't done any of the loops yet. And what I like to do is I try to have my loops the same size. So what I do is I just take that head pin, because the loops on head pins are all different. You can get them in different sizes. And what I want to do is add a mark. And so that's what I did. I took my Sharpie and just added a mark to the other side. You can add them to both. My Sharpie kind of, it's very finicky, so it only wanted to do one side. So that just kind of gives me an idea of where that loop, how large that loop is. So I go ahead and do that. I don't know if you can see where that little mark is, but I just put a mark on the other side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and use a seed bead, a round bead, a long bead, another round bead, and another seed bead. Now, no one will ever be able to tell this, but I like my loops to go in the same direction. So I am going to have my loop, this one is going this way, so this one's going to go that way so that the end is on the same. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and grab that there. I'm going to bring in my chain nose pliers, make sure that it's all the way down to the end, and then I'm just going to bend that to a 90-degree angle. Now the loop is smaller than I normally make, so I'm going to come in about here. Then I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. I'm gonna go about right here so that I can see it. Oh, I put lotion on my hands, so it's picking up everything. All right, so let's go ahead and put the wire right there where that mark is, and then just start rolling. Okay, and so now let's go ahead and get that there. Make sure that it's at least straight up and down and a little bit even. And there we go. We have our first one. Now let's go ahead and make the other two. And I figured we'll go ahead and make 3. On camera, I've made all the others. And then it also gives me an opportunity to talk about this Treasure Edition bead box from Potomac. It is a monthly subscription, and you can sign up monthly, and it's $39.99. You can sign up quarterly, and it would be $34.99, and so you get about $60 off. Then you can also get the best bang for your buck by subscribing for the annual subscription, where it ends up being only, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off just a little bit more. I could tell that it's going to be too long. Where you will pay just $29.99 a month for your subscription. So great value. A few other things. There's quite a few perks. And one of the main ones is, well, I mean, for not just because you get the box, because that is the main perk of subscribing, is you get this amazing box every month, but also too, they have golden tickets. They have 5 golden tickets that they place in each of the types of subscription boxes they have. They have this best bead box that is beads and components. They also have a kit edition that is specifically all kits, and all of the kits are exclusive for the subscriptions, so you cannot go and buy those kits on their site. Also too, speaking of their site, by being a subscriber, you also open up the opportunity for you to get exclusive or sneak peek preview type items on their site that are only available to subscribers during that time before it gets released to everybody else. Incredible, incredible. All right, so now that we have those all put together, I did grab an extra head pin. I did grab some extra jump rings because you never know what's going to happen, right? So I always grab a little extra. And let's see where the split is. The split is right there. Let's go ahead and grab that. We'll put that on here. Okay, let's get this closed up. You can hear it lock in place, the jump ring, if the audio picks it up. Let's go ahead and connect these. And I have kind of a design change for the bracelet that I'm going to make using those faceted, gorgeous silver beads. I thought of something, and I don't know why it always comes to me. You're in the shower, washing your hair, and the ideas just start flowing. It's almost like you're massaging your brain. And I had an idea for a different bracelet. So, because I was going to make a bracelet and a pair of earrings, but now it's just going to be a bracelet. Let's go ahead and finish that off just like so. And then now what we're going to do, you can hear that lock into place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to connect this to the other end. Okay, then I'll be able to get good pictures of this necklace and the other items that we're going to make, because the sun is supposed to be out today. All right, so let's go that way. And we just have a beautiful, it's not very long, but a beautiful necklace. And if you want to wear this with the other necklace that I made with if you want to layer it, you can very easily layer it too. But this is a gorgeous little little necklace here for you. If you want to add dangles, you can add dangles. You can make this your own, but I just love how that silver and black with the little seed beads, how that all comes together, and it just looks so pretty and elegant. Okay, so there is project number 1. Let's go ahead and bring in project number 2. And I have project number 2 all together, and then I had where it's going to be 4 beads or 6 beads in between and 4 beads at the end, so that it would remind me of what the design was. But that's going out the door, and here's why. Because I thought of something that we can do with this. Here are the other 2. I kept 2 behind because I wanted to make a pair of earrings, but we're actually going to include these in the bracelet. These are those faceted mirror rounds, also in the box. We're going to go ahead and bring in our 7-strand beading wire or beading cable, and go ahead, and I'm going to work from the spool. And the first thing that I want to do, we also have, I should mention, I also have a larger lobster clasp. I do have a couple of jump rings for the end. I have a closed jump ring. So this is a 6mm closed jump ring, and then I have a 5mm, one of these guys, to attach. I do have a couple of crimp tubes, size 2, and a couple wire guards for the end. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with just 4 for the end. Then I'm going to go ahead and attach, string on one of these beads here. And I was going to do 6 in between, but I think I'm just going to try doing 4. I think I'm just going to do 4 and see how that looks. Okay, so this is kind of going along with the necklace that I made, but using the smaller beads for this, but this is going to be a bracelet. And then I also actually even thought of bringing in, and I don't know if it's going to be too much, but I might just do it at the end of the, which I might need more of these. But I thought of taking a jump ring and adding one of these guys just for a little bit of added bling. Let's see, we'll do it with this one and see what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go ahead and string one of these on, and it will go over. It should go over. Oh, it's not going to go over. So let's go ahead and do that. And then, oh, because I have that other bead on there. Okay, so let's just see what that looks like. And we'll compare, and then we'll just go from there. I don't think it's enough for me to tell if it's going to be a good thing or not. So let's go ahead and do that again. And we'll do it for one more strand, and then I will see. You can just do this for a few of the strands too, or the little segments. Doesn't have to be for all of them. So let's just do 1, 2, put that on there, and then go 1, 2. Just 2. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. So let me go back, and I'm going to make a bunch of these up, and we're going to go back to this one here, but we'll do it when we go to cut the other end. So let me go ahead and make some more of these up, and I'll come right back. I went ahead and finished off this end. I'm actually going to be taking these 2 off because when I did my measurement around my little measuring tool, this came up to be about 5.5, and I want it to be 6.5 inches. And so it adds about 1 inch with all of the components here that we're using to string it all together or to piece it all together. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 2 off of the end. I still need to add one of the little dangles to this little segment here. I just love it. I love how it intertwines with each other, and it just kind of breaks it up and breaks up this long segment of seed beads. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to add one of my crimp tubes. Oh, and the major tool for this is the crimper tool, and I did not mention that earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. I'm going to go ahead and add my wire guard, and then I'm going to go ahead and pass that back through the wire guard, those little loops, pull that up. Now, what I did here was I do have that 6mm, I have that 6mm closed jump ring, but I went ahead and added 4 5mm jump rings, and then I added a little dangle to the end, or a little seed bead to the end. And then if someone's wrist is not 6.5 inches, they have a little bit of an extender on there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to bring that wire guard, I want to bring it together, because then my links here won't go up and down through there. So let's go ahead and just close that off now. And then I don't run the risk of this running down anywhere, if that makes sense. Let's go ahead and make sure that our wires are not crossing. Okay, they're not crossing. I'm going to split them out just a little bit. And go ahead and add, put that in the well that's closest to the back here. And I'm going to go ahead and give that a squeeze. When I give it a squeeze, it just separates that out. And then using the top well, I'm going to go ahead and close that. So there's 2 different wells there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my cutters, and my flat nose pliers just went down. All right. Oh, and one thing I didn't do is I didn't do the tug test. Always do the tug test. Then let's go ahead and bring that down, and then let's go ahead and cut off. Now I need to take that off. I need to add one of these guys and 2 of these guys. Add this one back on there. Then, I have too many. I can tell there's too many. I didn't take off enough. Let's go ahead and add one of these guys, and then 2. So there should be 4. Let's go ahead and string on one of these gorgeous faceted beads. And then we're going to go 1, and then we're going to go the component, and then we're going to go 1. And that there is the bracelet. That's pretty. I love it. I don't think this one's going to leave the house. All right, so here we get our crimp tube. We're going to thread through one side of the wire guardian. I do like wire guardians. There's sometimes where I won't use them, but I try to use them just because they do provide that extra protection. Then I am going to go back through the crimp tube plus one of the seed beads so that I have a little bit more grip there. With the back well, or the front well, I'm going to go ahead and just bring those 2 ends together so that they're pretty much closed. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring that, make sure it's not so tight. And then I'm going to come in with my crimper tool, not sitting on top of that seed bead because it will break. Let's make sure we're in the well there and give it a squeeze, and then come back and go into the top notch and give it a squeeze. Give it your tug test. It didn't move. And so now we're going to go ahead, or did it move? Did it move? No, it did not move. If you feel movement, you can always take that off, move it around. You can also give it just the tiniest of squeeze, just for some extra and then come in with your flush cutters. Try and get that as close to that as possible. Sometimes you can wiggle that around to give yourself a little bit of room just to get that tail tucked into the next bead there. We'll go ahead and open up our last jump ring and slip on our lobster clasp. The lobster clasp is from my stash. So the only thing that I used from my stash with this bracelet are the jump rings and the lobster clasp. Everything else came in the box. Isn't that pretty? So gorgeous, stunning. I like the little bit of element in between each of them. One thing I failed to do was to make sure that I had 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, that I was in that same pattern all the way around. You do want to give that just a quick look before you start crimping, and I did not do that. So there we go. There is project number 2. I will bring in project number 3, which we are going to use some of these gorgeous lapis chips. Now for the last project, using this box, I am going to be using these chips. They're 5 to 8 millimeter chips. I do have a little piece sectioned off over here, and I have one of those eye pins. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that after we're all done with this, because I measured it all out, and I have about 6.5 inches of that strand that we have. Your strand might be a little different, so you might need a little more, you might need a little less. 6.5 actually, and including adding all the other components, which I do need. The size of the beads, you can't just simply take a strand and say, oh, here's 6.5 inches, that's going to be a 6.5 inch bracelet because of the bulkiness of the beads. Now, something with these small ones, yes, because there's no beads, there's no bulk to it, these chain beads. This one here, there's just very little, so it doesn't really impact the size. Again, I'm going to use some of this amazing beading cable. I'm going to work from the spool. And I'm just going to go ahead and start stringing. I think I might add one of these little 3x2 beads from last box, and I might add those to the end. We'll just see. So I'm going to go ahead and start stringing, and I will let you know when I'm done. I might be able to string directly onto here, and then because sometimes with me, to find where the hole is in some of these chips, it's hard, but not these. These are really good. So I'm going to go ahead and continue stringing, and I thought of doing segments and using those eye pins and using segments and making a necklace with that. That is another idea. You can take like maybe 3/4 of an inch segment, use those eye pins and make a necklace out of that. But I am going to use this because I want to make a bracelet. So I will get these strung up, and I will come back when I'm getting near the end. Okay, so I'm now down to the end, and what I did was I went ahead and took all of the beads off the strand so that I can try and make some sort of a little bit of a pattern. What I did was I did make sure that I had a couple of smaller beads at the end, and I pushed aside or kept aside a few more so that I can add them over here, because if you look, that one's a fairly large one of the larger of the chips. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to see what this looks like with adding the bead, and I kind of like that. So I'm going to go ahead, and I also added my size 2 crimp tube. I go ahead and pass that back through. I am going to bring in my 6 millimeter closed jump ring. I'm going to go ahead and close this off, and then it won't slip back through. Go ahead and add that there. Let's just make sure that they are not crossing. They look good. Let's come in with that back notch of the crimper tool and give it a crimp, and then come in with the front notch and give it a little bit of a crimp. And then let's go ahead and give it the tug test, and you can tell that there's no movement there. Let's go ahead and give that a little bit of a trim, and we're done with that side. And so that's what that looks like. Let's go ahead and come in and give that a bit of a trim. And then we want to add these smaller ones. And the reason why I wanted the smaller ones is so that it would taper down a little bit. You don't have to do this. And as I was putting this together, I thought, oh man, this would make such a gorgeous necklace. So I'll show you what the segments will look like when we put that together, because that is going to be a pendant for a necklace. Let's go ahead and add that 2x3 seed bead or bead, spacer bead, our crimp tube, and our wire guard. Let's get our wire guardian through there. It will go, I promise. There we go. And let's pass that back through. And then we're going to pass it through the crimp tube plus that one spacer bead, just to give me a little bit of room. Okay, and let's keep that all together there. Let's go ahead and give that a little bit of a squeeze. There we go. And let's make sure it's not stiff. It's not stiff. It has a little bit of movement. Let's go ahead and make sure that's all in place. And go into that last notch. Make sure you're in that last notch. Give it a little bit of a squeeze. Go into the front notch. Give it a little bit of a squeeze. And then give it your tug test. And if there's no movement there, you've done a good job. Go ahead and get that trimmed. Let me go grab my lobster clasp and we will finish this one off. So I thought of using a magnetic clasp for this, but I don't want it to fall off, and this might be a special gift for someone and they have a tendency to lose magnetic clasp. I could add the safety chain, which I do like doing, but then what I have found with this person is that the dangle from the chain, from the safety chain, gets caught on stuff. She's just very active. So I'm gonna have to rethink the magnetic angle here. All right, so there we go. Now what we can do is we can either just leave it as this size, and I believe this ends up being about 6 3/4 inches. So that is good. So now, and you can add extender if you want to. I left that out there just in case, but I am good with that. So now let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and use these last beads because nothing goes to waste, right? Let's go ahead and put these in the middle. Let's have those in the middle, these off to the side. Let's try and get some small ones off to the side. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start adding these chips to the eye pin. And this will just make for a beautiful, easy pendant. But also too, if you decide that this is the angle you want to go with for a necklace, because I keep on thinking, man, maybe I want to do a necklace. And so the bracelet might come apart. Don't know yet. And we'll just keep on going. Again, I have a very small loop, so I don't need a whole lot of extra wire at the end. And then just kind of move them around. I moved them around a little bit so that they would kind of try to lay a little bit better. So like this one here, you might have to just rearrange things a little bit. So let's have this guy go this way instead. And the reason why is because I know this one, see how that one is angled? So let's see if we can try and get a little bit. It's probably going to be the same issue on this side. Nope, it won't be, because I'm going to go ahead and go like that and hold it together tightly. So you can't see what's going on with my, and again, your chips are going to be different. So you might not be able to, you know, you'll have to rearrange your chips accordingly. Okay, so let's do this. All right, so now I have that there. Now I'm going to go ahead and hold that. I'm going to go ahead and give it that bend, just like so. Let's come in, and I don't need a large loop, so it's going to go about right there. We're going to come in, we're going to find the little notch that I made there, and then we're just going to start rolling. And there we go. So we have a pendant for a bracelet if you want to. I mean, for a necklace if you wish. If you want to make sure that they're both going the same direction, just kind of move it around that way. Or you can use these as segments for a necklace, which I think would be really pretty. But then also too, I think it'd be really pretty if we just added some silver chain. So here we go. We have a few projects here. So we have bracelet, we have a pendant for a necklace. So I just need to go dig out some chain. We have a gorgeous bracelet, and we also have a necklace. So we have 4 more projects from this box. I've already made one. I'm gonna get these photographed, do a little bit of editing, and I will drop this video onto my YouTube channel. With that, please like the video, give this a big, huge thumbs up if you like it. Comment, I love to see what everybody has to say, and do subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video. And until next time, have a good one.